Joining me now is someone who will play a big role in the rollout of this package if it passes. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, a.k.a. the trains guy. I want to give you an opportunity first to talk about this bill. I'm going to put up on screen some of what's in it, but talk a little bit about it and how big of a deal is it for the administration?
Well, it's a huge deal, not just for the administration, but for the country. The bill that advanced through the Senate today includes some of the most meaningful investments we've ever made in our infrastructure, investments in public transit at a level that we've never seen before from the federal government. Support, as you said, for trains that we're very excited about, not just in case you're a train fan, but because we think it means so much to regional economies and to the struggle against climate change to create more of those options for Americans. It's got funding for roads and bridges. It stands on the principle that we need to do more for water infrastructure, resilience, dealing with droughts, fires, and floods, especially in this week when we got such an alarming report on climate change from the global scientific community. Internet infrastructure, and so much more. Of course, it's got to work its way through the House and then get to the president's signature for a desk. But today was a very big and a very good day.
Well, and I wanted to let you tout that because I don't want to downplay what a big deal it is to invest that much money in infrastructure, especially if you've been to an airport in the United States lately or you've seen a lot of our roads and bridges. You know we need this, right? Flint needs water. It's lead pipes change, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the rub, just a little bit. You had 19 Senate Republicans who voted yes. Most of those who voted yes are either not up for re-election, already just got re-elected, like Mitch McConnell, so they don't have to worry for 6 more years, or they're retiring. So you were only able to get 19 Republicans to say we need roads and bridges, which seems pretty straightforward because much of the climate change and other stuff was stripped out of it. So I wonder now, given the amount of work that the White House put in to getting those 19 Republicans to pass this bill, is the same effort going to go into making sure that there's not a double cross on the other bill? Because that's the bill that progressives in the House have said if that doesn't pass, they ain't voting for this.
Absolutely. The president believes in both, and that's why both of them taken together represent his economic policy agenda for this country. Look, America needs roads and bridges, internet, ports, airports, and the rest of it. We also need to move forward on these provisions, what we have been calling human infrastructure. Some people might just call it families and climate and other related policies. But the point is we need to do it. We need to extend the child tax credit and give that tax cut to families with children. And by the way, that'll have a huge impact on poverty for children in this country. We've got to do more on climate. We've got to take a lot of steps. Now, I'm going to continue making the case that actually there's no reason that couldn't be bipartisan as well. But realistically, we know that that's unlikely to get the kind of Republican crossover support that you saw for the transportation-heavy bill that moved through the Senate today.
And not only that, but you've got people like Kyrsten Sinema who's like shrugging her shoulders, number one, at having no diversity in the negotiations for this bill. Essentially, 20 white senators got together and said, we're just going to do this on our own with no diversity at the table. But the other bill is addressing the stuff that the diverse base of the party really needs. So my question is, number one, do you have a commitment from Kyrsten Sinema? Do you have a commitment from the conservatives in your party, the Chris Coonses of the world, the Joe Manchins, the Dianne Feinsteins, that they are going to support the bigger bill? Are they all going to support it?
Well, I think that's exactly what they are now working through as we move into that phase of things. But I'm confident that we can hold together with such important priorities on the line. I do want to make sure we don't understate what it means to the diverse base of the country and the diverse American people that we got this first part through the Senate. You look at the funding for public transit, for example. Black commuters much more likely to depend on public transit to get to work. You look at the support for electric vehicles and not just helping with chargers for family cars, but cleaner vehicles for bus systems and transit, when Latino families are much more likely to live close to ports or highways and experience asthma as a consequence of airborne pollution. Tribal residents more likely to have safety issues and unfortunately be killed in crashes, which is one of the reasons we really care about the safety provisions here. So I want to make sure we don't short that, even while agreeing that we've got a lot of work to do in that second track. That's why that second track is there. And we want both to come to the president's desk, and the president wants to sign them both.
And you know, and I respect that you said that, and I appreciate you said that. I believe you when you say that, Secretary Pete. Kyrsten Sinema has not convinced a lot of people that she cares about any of that, that she came to the table with the interests of voters of color in mind. It's not believable. She isn't even trying to make the case that she does. So my question to you is, Amy Klobuchar, Senator Klobuchar, and Senator Warren, I've interviewed them both and done other interviews on MSNBC, and they've talked about the fact that election infrastructure could be viewed as infrastructure. Should we expect there to be the White House weighing in and saying, maybe we can get some of these election protection provisions into this next bill? Seeing as that we ain't losing, unfortunately, the filibuster's not going anywhere for now, should we expect to see some election infrastructure placed in the human infrastructure bill so that at least your folks can vote?
I don't know the finer points of what the Senate negotiators will be prepared to put in or what will get past the parliamentarian, but I know this. Whatever the vehicle is, the president has called on Congress, called on America to pass real voter protections, whether we're talking about the John Lewis Act, the For the People Act, all of the things that need to happen in order to make sure that we protect that foundation. I admire this idea of it being a kind of democratic or moral infrastructure, but whatever you want to call it, it's a sacred right, it's a vital right. It's part of what makes America, America, and we have to pursue that as well.
Well, Secretary Pete, always appreciate talking with you. Get on the phone with Kyrsten Sinema, because I don't know if she agrees with you about all of that, but she hasn't really convinced very many people that she does, and also Manchin as well. So get on the phone with them. Hopefully they will be convinced. Secretary Pete Buttigieg